Chapter 40. Moreover, the Lord answered Job and said, Shall he that contendeth with the Almighty instruct him? He that reproveth God, let him answer. Now, I don't know how many of you caught this, but notice how this chapter begins by saying, Moreover, the Lord answered Job. Well, we haven't been told that Job has replied to anything that the Lord has said. Though Job had not spoken anything, yet God is said to answer him here, for he knows men's thoughts. It even says this of Christ in the New Testament, how he knew their thoughts. It doesn't say that about any other man in all of the Bible. For he knows men's thoughts and can return a fit answer to their silence. Verse 3. Then Job answered the Lord and said, Behold, I am vile. What shall I answer thee? I will lay mine hand upon my mouth. Once have I spoken, but I will not answer. Yea, twice, but I will proceed no further. Notice how Job says that he's spoken once and twice. He had not only offended once, as if in a thoughtless and hasty manner, but he had repeated it, showing deliberation and thus aggravating his guilt against God. When a man is brought to a willingness to confess that he has done wrong once, he will be very likely to see that he has been guilty of more than one offense. One sin will draw on the remembrance of another, and the gate once open, a flood of sins will rush to the recollection. Verse 6, Then answered the Lord unto Job out of the whirlwind, and said, Gird up thy loins now like a man. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. Wilt thou also disannul my judgment? Wilt thou condemn me, that thou mayest be righteous? Hast thou an arm like God, or canst thou thunder with a voice like him? Deck thyself now with majesty and excellency, and array thyself with glory and beauty. Cast abroad the rage of thy wrath, and behold every one that is proud, and abase him. Cambridge commented, As Job questions the manner of the Almighty's rule of the world, God invites him to deck himself with the thunder and majesty of the supreme ruler, and himself undertake the government of the world. Job, you think you can do a better job? One mere moment in the position of God, we would be totally overwhelmed. It would take us an eternity to just do the task that flood upon us at that one moment. But the Lord is not only talking about ruling over all creation, he's also speaking of subduing the wicked, keeping them in check. Rule of the world consists in keeping in check the forces of evil. Imagine if Satan was just allowed to do what he did to Job to every one of us. He did all of that in one night, and then brought the boils, we believe, a few weeks or a few months later. Verse 12 continues this. Look on every one that is proud, and bring him low, and tread down the wicked in their place. Hide them in the dust together, and bind their faces in secret. Then will I also confess unto thee that thine own right hand can save thee. Now, there's something very profound being said right here, how the Lord hides the wicked in the dust together and binds their faces in secret. That is, according to Cambridge, he shuts them up in darkness in the prison house of death. Now, just as there was this mention of the unicorn in Job 39, and we explained how that is almost certainly the old dinosaur or ancient rhinoceros, well, right here there is mention of a behemoth. And the Lord is telling Job to behold now Behemoth, which I made with thee. He eateth grass as an ox. Lo, now his strength is in his loins, and his force in the navel of his belly. And this is part of the studies in which, if you're a young earth creationist like myself, you will become very angry at the vast majority of commentators, of biblical commentators, these scholarly types, because many of them held to this view of evolution, and they were so narrow in their view of what could be these behemoths that it's talking about, or the Leviathan, or the unicorn. What could these things be? They never could gather that these may have been dinosaurs, because they didn't believe that dinosaurs lived with man like we do. But so many of these commentators, they refer to the behemoth as a hippopotamus or something alive today. The description of Behemoth's tail, however, does not even remotely fit with the hippopotamus. The average height of a cedar tree, in which his tail is likened unto a cedar tree, is around 30 to 40 meters. I know, I used to cut them down, trim them. I was a logger for a couple of years. While the average size of an adult male hippopotamus tail is around 56 centimeters. The hippopotamus also spends most of its day in the deep water, but the behemoth, we're told, spends his day sheltered by the lotus tree in the marsh. Biblical creationists, like myself, have long argued that the behemoth is a creature that is now extinct, but known to Job when he was alive, possibly a sauropod dinosaur, possibly Dicraeosaurus, as shown here. Verse 17, he moveth his tail like a cedar, the sinews of his stones are wrapped together. His bones are as strong pieces of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. He is the chief of the ways of God. He that made him can make his sword to approach unto him. Surely the mountains bring him forth food, where all the beasts of the field play. He lieth under the shady trees in the covert of the reed and fens. The shady trees cover him with their shadow. The willows of the brook compass him about. Behold, he drinketh up a river, and hasteth not. He trusteth that he can draw up Jordan into his mouth. He taketh it with his eyes. His nose pierceth through the snares. I really like this. This is an unstoppable creature.